Hey, yay, yay. Happy Thursday, people. Welcome to Queen's Glean, the after conversation to Kings Speak. Now, if you didn't see Kings Speak on Tuesday, you can catch that after this. We had a show titled Happily Ever After with author and podcaster Tony Briscoe. And he was talking all the things. So you know how we do. Had to get my ladies together, get the panel going so we can talk on Queen's Glean. So stay tuned because we're talking about if the shoe was on the other foot, God's wrath versus God's love, self-love, marriage. And we got to talk about this Derek Jackson thing. I mean, trending on social. We got to talk about it. So stay tuned, grab your glass of wine, share this with a friend, and let's get into Queen's Glean. That's right. Season 2, episode 8. This is the after conversation to Kings Speak. This is Queen's Glean, and we are chatting happily ever after, which is the last Kings Speak episode that we had with Tony Briscoe. So you know how we do it. It's time to get my people in here, and I want you guys to stick around to the end for our Trending on Social segment and join the conversation. Put in some comments. Let us know what you're thinking and how you're feeling, and let's dive into the conversation. Okay. Y'all know how we do. First up, got my girl in the building, Miss Surrendered Sessions and the Surrendered Society on Facebook, Keandra.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
You got your wine. I got my tea. I'm still
Listen,
on my...
this glass, you see how light it is?
Do you need another pour? Is your hand
I need a whole nother pour and a whole nother bottle. Not that I did the whole bottle just this moment, but I definitely kind of feel like, dang it. Oh, I'm a little low. I've been drinking while I was preparing. It's been that kind of a day.
Girl, I know. Well, look, if you got to fill your glass, you could do so because we got to introduce our next queen on panel. We got Queen Cookie, host of Love and Good Music. So make sure you turn into her YouTube channel to get all of that good stuff. Let's bring her in. Queen Cookie, what up?
Hey. Yeah, I got my wine. And I got my strawberries in my wine.
There you go. A little fruit.
Sexy. I love it.
Fruit, yes. Hello, ladies. It's been about, 2 weeks since I've seen you guys. So good to be back.
Yes, it's been 2 weeks and a time change. I'm like watching this.
I know. Me too. I'm like, oh, okay, there's light outside, literally light outside my window. It's so strange. I'm used to doing these things at night.
Exactly, when it's dark.
Okay, can I comment?
Please do, because we got Rael in the building here.
It wasn't the whole bottle today.
But it might be.
Hi, Dr. Rael. It's been that kind of a day, but I did not drink the whole bottle today. It was a little bit of a situation.
It was another day.
It was over a course of a couple days.
Because you a good girl.
I be trying to be productive too.
I mean, I heard that. Talk about productive. Yo, we've got a loaded show and it's so good. I was really excited putting it together with all the topics and everything. Tony Briscoe, we were talking happily ever after, and it just so happened, this is an intuitive show, but it lined up to talk about somebody enjoying and celebrating their 20-year anniversary when we got social media buzzing about the opposite, the opposite energy. So it was great to hear from a man who's excited, committed, dedicated, and believes in happily ever after in a real way. Y'all know we talk about the fairy tale, but let's get into the real life fairy tale, okay? Yeah. So what did you guys think of Tony Briscoe as a whole, our king level man?
I thought he was so great. I will be honest, I didn't get a chance to get through the entire interview, but what I did watch, so far, I really, really enjoyed. I love that he is such a man of faith. I love that he celebrated his wife and honored her and acknowledged, the impact that she's had on just who he is and how he, puts her in the forefront. I forgot the values that he shared. He shared like 3 of them, but it was just like, I just loved that, that she is a part of who he is, and he celebrates that, and you could see the joy, and you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like it didn't come across as if it was like a persona or something that he was actually just, manufactured for the sake of, going along with him being a poet and creative and the whole nine. It seems like this is genuinely who this brother is. So I really appreciated just his honesty and him sharing all of that and just his vibe. I really, really liked it. So, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, same, to piggyback on that. I remember when you had first posted about it, and when I first saw his photo, I was like, oh, this is about to be good. Like, I just knew. But I think I'm similar to Keandra. I love when men honor their wives, because you really don't, not to say you don't see it, because you do, but it's lovely to see. And when a man really stands behind his wife too, and really holds that at the center, that's important for me. And so I love to see it. And that was definitely a big highlight for me. Same way, like Keandra said, excuse me, maybe I need some tea.
No, it's tea time. Yes, y'all, I've been sniffling. I hope I don't sneeze, y'all. I was in the thing with him, and it's springtime, and I don't really get allergies. It's something I used to have as a kid, but now that I moved, we got some new plants out here in Houston, so I've been like, like, it's been ridiculous. So I hope that doesn't happen, because it sure did happen on King's Speak, and you'll see I was like down here sneezing, and I was just like,
I peeped.
Thank goodness for a mute button.
Oh my God, thank goodness for the mute. But yes, I agree with you guys. And there's nothing, there's nothing I adore more than a man who adores his wife, because being a woman, I know we deserve to be adored. I know why. And
Mark and Ash asking if you got the COVID.
No, baby. Yeah, no. Sneezing is not even on the list of symptoms, so we're not going to speak that into existence. Okay, just a little allergies. Okay, we got the eucalyptus and the tea. We're gonna be all right. My body feels great. I'm good. But thank you, Mark. Nice to see you here in the building. Peace. So yes, I love that. I love being honored. And when a man pours into a woman, we're the multiplier. So it's like, you give to us, we gonna multiply. We're gonna give so much back naturally. So when you honor your wife, like, it's a good thing. That's a hot thing to do. So we have a few topics today, ladies. The first one is self-love in marriage. We always hear love in marriage, but the self-love thing is a big deal. Then we have the love of God versus the wrath of God. And I thought it was important to talk about that, especially the way Tony framed it. And if the shoe was on the other foot, we did talk about forgiveness and cheating, and you know how that double standard goes with men. So let's dive in. Self-love in marriage. Let's go to our first clip and see what he had to say about honoring himself in marriage.
We came out of a counseling one year, and it said, go home, ask your wife if she's living her dream, ask your husband if he's living his dream. And she said, absolutely. I get to stay home. I get to homeschool our daughter. I get to instill in her Christian values. Like, I thank you for allowing me this space to do this. This is what I've wanted to do. And she said, what about you? What about your dreams? I said, I don't have no dreams. My dreams died. All I think about is taking care of you and our daughter. And she looked at me and she said, that's sad. Do whatever you got to do to fix it. And with that, that's why I dropped my first album in 2018. I graduated from college in 2018. I wrote my first book in 2018. It was like all these things. She didn't say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope we're not a burden to you. She was like, no, I need you to do something about that. Do something about it. Pursue your dreams. Pursue your goals. Do the things you love to do. Do the things that bring you joy. Because if you're broken, I'm broken.
Period.
If you're not whole, I'm not whole. And that's the oneness. That's the oneness in marriage that we have with each other. And it's a beautiful thing. And so when I tell people a marriage for 20 years has been a honeymoon, it has. We had a ball.
Yes.
So good.
I love it. Right? What do you guys think about the clip?
I want to be married 20 years and my husband be like, we're having a ball.
Right.
Like, we sure are. Like, that's that you want.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
to have a ball after 20 years.
Yeah.
No, but to speak to the clip, the thing that I love that I thought was so powerful about that was the selflessness of his wife to even allow, and not even say allow, like she didn't have to, but so many people, maybe even after he's in 2018, he's an older and an older man. He's not in his he's not in his teens. Most people won't even think that at that age you can start over and rebrand and redo all your things. Most people are already stuck in that, just make a career. We got to take care of the kids. So for her to trust and allow him to still live in his freedom and trust that he was still going to take care and provide for the family and still allow her to live her dream to be a homemaker, that's like love, that was amazing. And I just was like, wow, so selfless of her, and the trust and the belief that she knew her man could do it. So you got to believe too, you have to believe with him. So yeah, it was just, that was a powerful, no wonder they're having a ball after 20 years. Yeah. They have that space for each other. They hold that space for each other, and that's amazing.
Holding that space. What did you think, Keandra?
That space. I agree with what Cookie said. I also, there was a part in the interview where I forgot specifically what he said, but he spoke to his wife basically. It was another moment of encouragement and support with him basically moving forward. I think he had kind of gotten a little stagnant, and in that moment he ended up, creating, several things. And I love the fact that she was able to see him before they got married, to see who he was, but also not expect that part of him had to die, that she actually honored him and pushed him to look, no, just because we're married, that doesn't mean that, all of these things that made you who you are, all of a sudden, just kind of go by the wayside, and that they just lie dormant, It just really seems that they are purpose partners, in the sense that even though their purposes and their gifts and their things obviously look very different, they still are able to feed off of one another to where each can kind of have, their thing going the way that, they want it to, you know what I mean? And in those different seasons. So, yeah, I love it. And I think that that's something that is something to look forward to in marriage, with having a partner that can support what it is that you're also put here to do. You know what I mean? I think that that's really important, that your identity, that our identities are not becoming morphed and just being each other's partners. You know what I mean? That what we're here to do, we're able to kind of support and build and help one another with whatever those expressions and gifts and lanes are, so I loved it.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you. And that's why I titled this topic Self-Love in Marriage, because I wouldn't want to hear my dreams died. I just want to take care of y'all.
Yeah, that would be hurtful.
Yeah. I don't want that for you, genuinely. So I love how I had to ask him at some point, why is it that men don't believe or see that they can pursue purpose and grow and still attain things and have a family at the same time? And it begged me to ask the question, when men are vetting women, why is that not a part of what kind of woman you're looking for? Yes, I'm a woman who wants you to take care of this, that, and the other, but taking care of yourself is essential and should go without, saying. But I do feel like on this show, we have an opportunity to dispel a lot of myths and things that we hear that have nothing to do with the reality of how humans function and what we really need. So I hope that men hearing this realize, sir, putting your dreams on the back burner and disappearing them does not, you can do both. You can have both. So my question for you guys is, well, let's see in the chat really quick. Some men aren't receptive to that. They assume she is nagging or trying to boss him. And, we talked about that on the last show, where it's well, what ear are you listening with? And are you willing to make some adjustments to say, okay, I know my mama nagged me, my cousins, my sister, everybody, but maybe that's not this tone with this woman that loves me. She wants to see me do well. So let me quiet my mouth, fix my pride, and listen to my ear. and see what she's really saying so I can get the best out of it.
Yeah, no, that's the same. Yeah, along those same lines, it's like if she's coming from a place of love, but you're hearing it as negativity, that's just two different communications going on right there, And so, yeah, for her, his wife did have a little pep in her step when she was talking to him, like, wow, you let him die, and that was appreciated for me too, because that's his fault. Like, she didn't ask him to give up his dreams. Somewhere inside of him, he did that. But now here she is still standing beside him saying, like, why? It's never too late. Go ahead. Not like she was giving him permission, but like, yeah, here's the permission. Go do that. Go do what you want to do. Though nobody's stopping you over here. So
yeah, like, it matters to me too. It's not just take care of me. I got my dream, the house, the kids, we good.
She
like,
sure did.
But she got what she wanted, and he can get what he wants. There's room for it. Yeah. So my question to you guys is, have you ever believed that being in a relationship would keep you from living your dreams or the ability to execute in purpose?
There was a time when I believed that. There was a time. I remember there was a season, and we talked about it in previous shows before, but I was making more than the man that I was dating. And at that time, I really kind of felt like purpose had something to do with my career. And even though it does, I understand now that purpose is more about kind of like personality, and that the assignments are very different, but kind of who you are is always going to be the same. Digressing a little bit, but there was a time when I thought that in order for me to be married, that meant that I would have to diminish something about me, or, kind of quiet some of my ambition, or basically settle, to a certain extent, or dim my light in order to not intimidate, because that was a word that had been in the atmosphere, was thrown out there, had even been labeled I had been labeled as intimidating, even though I didn't believe that I was putting anything out there that would cause that to be. Could have been, but again, that was something that it was like, okay, well, I don't want to be seen as that. So perhaps then I need to kind of, shrink and fold a little bit. And then, moving forward in years later, and now even being with someone who actually supports my dreams and visions, I'm realizing that it is totally possible to have both, and that you want both and need it, because I believe that both people are going to continue to evolve. Some pieces of it are going to be intertwined, other pieces it's going to be individual. And it's important for, I think, a person to feel whole and even have a sense of what their purpose is, but also to feel secure enough to give space for their partner to have that expression and explore it, and to be motivated in a sense, to not allow that part of them to die and to not be intimidated by it. And understanding too that there's going to be a little bit of a give and take, like maybe not both of you are, having public platforms, or, like it's going to look different. One person might have to kind of be more in the background with family and all those other things in order for the other person to do what it is that they need to do. So there is going to be that give and take. But I totally believe that it's possible. And there was a time when I did.
Yeah, and I was the same as you. I mean, even when it came to the thought of having children, because you feel like for someone like me, I was like, I don't want to be a homemaker. Like, I don't want to be at home with the kids all day. That's not my dream. And no knock to women that's what they want. That's not my dream. And so when I used to think of relationships and marriage, I used to think that, like Keandra said, I would have to shrink a part of me. I would have to lose a part of me to be that. And then what I realized over the years is, like, you really don't. If you find the right partner, kind of like Keandra said, like, and they understand you, and you guys just have that sort of communication to where, yeah, today is my day to shine. You can shine tomorrow, because today is when, my work is due. Your work is not due until Saturday, so I'm going to need you to watch the kids tonight, and just finding that balance between the two partners. And yeah, someone may be in the forefront at some point because their career is buzzing, or that's, and to be able to be that partner in that shadow sometimes, because that's difficult, especially when you have your own things that you want to do. So it is like a balancing scale. And so I think that's the hard part. If you can find the partner that will balance that out for you. But if you're with someone who won't balance that, then yeah, they're going to suck that out of you, and maybe even suck the ambition out of you to where you won't even want to do it anymore. So yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you. And it kind of goes back to the, you know, what we hear, like you said it, Cookie, how it's like, you didn't want to stay home and do this and that with the kids, but that's the picture that's painted. It's like, you're the wife, you have the kids, you do this, the man works, and it's such a narrative, it's such a teeny tiny little box, but we all subscribe to it in a particular way where it's like, like, I need to be authentic in this mug.
This is who you have to be.
Yeah.
I
Because how are
don't
we
completely.
Yeah.
I feel like, I as much as there's a part of me that's kind of like, oh, it would be cool. Like, I don't completely identify with the homemaker, the one that stays at home either. I know. And it's
and
like,
people don't think
beautiful...
that. They see my Instagram and they're like, she lit. And I'm like, no, I want to be at home. I want to homeschool, cook, clean.
I know, it's so crazy. I would think the opposite of you. You're such a go-getter. And here you're like, no, I want to be at home.
I want to be in the house.
Yeah,
I can be in the house. I like start fidgeting. Like, I need to go. Like, I need to go.
Yeah, there will be seasons and moments, but I find so much joy in that, and that'll be cool because I also am extremely resourceful. So if you want to go get it, I'm definitely gonna be that wind behind. Like, whoosh, here's the resources. Whoosh, like I'm loaded with. We could fire you up. We good. But I'll probably just I want to make sure these babies are smart and protected, and in the house they eat food, and I don't know. So to each your own, but this allows us to partner up with the person who will support that, and I love that. I just threw this in here and we kind of covered it, but we hear so much about the hardships and the sacrifices, but do we talk enough about the teamwork and support available in the right union?
We totally don't. I don't think that we do. And I think that this is why this interview was so refreshing, because when we typically hear of people who have been married for 20 plus years, the hardship is the first thing that they're typically highlighting. Like, it ain't been easy. We've been, you know what I'm saying? And
we
so
did therapy. The pastor that ran over us for years.
It immediately just kind of sounds like, well, I might be kind of good, but he really talked about just the joy and how it was the honeymoon, and how they're having a ball, right? And how fun it's been. And so I think that if more of the narrative could be shared of the other side and leading with that, then it probably would help a little bit with people's perspective of what it takes to be married, and also what to look for when it comes to vetting, one of Jamie's favorite words, when we're actually out here dating and we're, considering what are those things that are important and the values and what we want to, what's important, that partnership piece, and really understanding what that means in practicality, of not just in the sense of like, who's paying the DWP and electric bill, but like really the other side of partnership of like, okay, what happens when someone gets sick, or, what does it look like when we're each pursuing our purpose, or, children and finances, just all the different areas. How do we want to have fun together, our friends? There's just so many different places where, partnership shows up, and it's an opportunity to think of that when you're dating someone and you're not necessarily experiencing, some of that partnership quality that is important.
And not being afraid to bring it to the table, because it's like, if you have this preconceived notion that he's got to do the bills and I got to be at home, or just that box thinking, then you go to the table like, well, I'm not going to say that I want to start my event planning business and I want to do this because he's not going to. Then we start making up these stories, and where your partner might be like, oh my God, an event planning business.
You should.
Because once you get that off the ground, you can be doing the events when I start my public speaking. Like, what are we doing? Purpose, it all fits. We can all go. So, Mark, he said, what if your man wants you think you be a homemaker? Can you sacrifice some of your ambitions and compromise? And I think that that's what's all about with what we're saying, and what Keandra was saying, and what you were saying, Cookie. Like, if Saturday night your stuff is due and you got to go live, babe, you're on baby It is what it is.
You sure are. And he has to be
Okay.
willing for that. And it's not even like we're putting that on them. This is partnership. It's teamwork. Union is more than one person. So it's like, I still don't understand, the old school thinking that the woman has to be behind the man in a marriage. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that frame of thought, especially when, it's the woman that really makes the home. It's the woman that really makes the marriage. Like, let's keep it real. She's the one that's gonna, keep it going. The Bible even says to have a good wife is to have a good thing, so it's like, it's those things. And so when you're forced into these gender roles, and the expectations of these gender roles, and then you find a woman who doesn't fit into that, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to dim her light because you want her to fit in your box. And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. And like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, okay, can you handle me not being a homemaker? And yeah, I'm going to be at home sometimes. I'm not saying I'm not going to never be at home, but can you handle if I want to go into work? Can you handle if I want to take a trip, a business trip? Can you handle that I may not be home Monday through Friday? Can you handle that? Because that's who, and I think like Keandra said, in that vetting process, and when you're dating, that's when you have these conversations. Like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. That's not who I am. That's not who I feel like I'm called to be. Now, there's maybe women who are stay-at-home moms who men date them and they don't like that. They want her to be a go-getter. They want her to do more. They don't. I have a lot of homeboys that have their that at home and they want their girls to be doing something more,
Yeah.
So it's like, did you ask her before you all got in that situation that she wanted more? Maybe she's comfortable being at home. Like some women, that's some women, that's their dream. Since they're a little girl, I just want to be a mom, and that's fine, but to some people that's not their dream. And so for men to make that the dream for some women, that's not fair. And it comes back to what Mark was talking about, compromise. I'll compromise a little bit and you do too. Yeah, I'm going to be at home with the babies, but know and believe Mama Cookie is going to go when she needs to go. She just needs to go sometimes.
I think it definitely requires a lot of honesty up front as well, because there are a lot of men who do want that traditional type of woman, and that's okay too. But also to be honest and understand like who you're dating, or just being upfront with that's what it is that you want. Because if it's important for you to be with a woman who cooks for all of those reasons because you can't, then you know what I mean? Then maybe perhaps that's the type of woman that you need to look for, but don't fault the woman who's not fitting into whatever criteria it is that you have for yourself. Like, just be honest with the fact that that's really what you want. You want someone to be barefoot and frying you catfish in the kitchen and, on the daily. And that's wonderful and lovely, but not every woman wants that or even fits into that model or whatever. And that doesn't make her any less of a woman. And the same as it doesn't make a man less than a man if he is more domestic and can cook and wants to stay at home. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be specific to gender, but the honesty does need to be up front and there. And also just a self-awareness that like, hey, this is who I am and this is what you're dealing with. Are you okay with that?
Yes, and that's why the self-love and knowledge of self is so important, because self-love is also going to be what allows you to speak up and not be like, well, let me be in the box he wants me to be in because I don't want him to, So we got Tony Briscoe in the building.
Hey, Tony.
We just talking about all your stuff. And while we've got you here, we're about to get into your next clip. So that was a great segment, ladies. And our second one is titled The Love of God versus the Wrath of God. And so let's get into this conversation and clip right here.
Growing up, I wish I would have learned more about the love of God than the wrath of God. If we start the gospel, if we start the gospel message with wrath and condemnation and judgment and criticism, knowing that in the gospels, Jesus did exactly the opposite when he presented himself. Like, I just think, he who winneth souls is wise, and you don't win souls condemning. You win souls with love. You know,
Love.
and I don't think there's any compromise in my faith to say that. I mean, talk to any young. I'll speak for the Black church because I grew up in a Black church. The fact that we have names, so we'll leave that alone for another conversation. But ask them how many of them felt more rules and regulations than love and acceptance. Just ask them. Just start asking the people in your age demographic, Jamie, and they'll be like, "But I never really thought about that." It's the love of Christ that draws men nearer, and we have to live that out.
Yes, Tony. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And we got into that because we were talking about the endurance and longevity it really takes, because real love has to go far beyond the intimacy of our youth and it being cute and all of that when it comes to marriage. But if our foundation in the church is coming from the judgment and the wrath and what's going to happen if it, how do we reflect what is real, which is the love? So what did you guys think about that clip?
I mean, it's very powerful for me as someone who is raised Catholic and Christian, both kind of simultaneously, and then leaving the church as an adult because it was just too much for me. And no shade to it. I just felt it was very fear-based and not enough love-based, like Tony said. Like, I'm supposed to feel love, but every day I feel like I'm doing something wrong in my life. Every
And you're
moment
going to
of my
hell.
life, I'm going to hell. Exactly. So then it's like, they pump all this fear in you to make you be a good person, but you're really just psychologically screwing with our minds. And so, yes, when we get into these unions, it's like, oh, well, we have to do this, or, oh, we have to do this. And like, it's really stunts the growth of the relationship for you to even grow past or what God had in mind for what this union was even going to be in the first place. But you guys are putting yourself in that box again and not even allowing the marriage to grow past whatever limit or whatever thoughts you had that, when you first said, will you marry me? And she said, yes, I think you all had this like great idea of like, oh, it could be this magical union. And then you get in and you start conforming to these things that oh, pastor said this. Oh, Bible said this. Oh, you have to do this. And it's like, what? Whoa. Where's the love first? Don't forget the love. Because then you'll find yourself 15 years down the line performing, like Keandra says, is performing, and the love is not even there. The love is not there at all. So, I that's kind of like, I'm the most open spiritually, I think, on the panel. And so when I look at Christianity from that outside point of view, it's always that it's always been that for me, is that it's just a fear-based community. It's a fear-based teaching. And that's really scary that make people feel like they're not living up to their standards when we're all not perfect. We're all just trying. So that's my perspective. I know I come from left field, but that's just how it is for me.
But Jesus was about that. Jesus wasn't walking around like, oh, he was just like, well, listen and welcome. It was all about the love. The way he presented things was not condemnation. So it's like, where we got that, I don't know, but it affects the quality of our relationships. What'd you think, Keandra, about that?
I mean, outside of my body language, that showed, just the snaps. I totally agree. Like, I think that, what Christ represents was busting down the constructs of religion. Yet most of our experiences, for the Black church, is much more performative, as just that word. It becomes very performative and more about rules and regulations and doing things or trying not to do things that really conflict with just what it means to be human. You know what I mean? Like, I think that certain things become more hyper spiritualized and, and then we don't even have dating experiences or just life experiences to be able to even choose partners from like a healthy place, and there's just so many things I think of, just the the religion versus relationship, and even having to really reconcile with a lot of the ways that some of the things that were taught have nothing to do with Christ at all. You know what I mean? Like, it literally is some other stuff. I'm no theologian and all that, but I've had a similar path where I realized at some point, I, was raised in Black church, been a part of it, Methodist, AME, Pentecostal, Baptist, to non-denominational, like all different churches, but still encompassed within that Black church experience. And had my own moment where it was just like, something isn't right here, because I'm finding myself doing something more, and I'm exhausted, and it just seems like all this stuff is outside of myself rather than focus on the relationship of God or with God. And so I stepped away from church as well, and had to explore and get to know God in a different way that ultimately brought me back, still to a lot of just where my faith is rooted. But being able to not be afraid and have such a narrow view of God and my relationship, and being able to also be okay with other people's perspectives, and not being so fear-based and shame-based, because that does, it hurts us in a lot of more ways than I think that we realize. So I was with it. I was with it.
Yeah. Y'all nailed that. You covered all bases. I concur. And for me, it's the energy of it, that fear-based energy. For me, it really created a duality in my mindset that was so uncomfortable that it did take away from my natural loving nature, because I was always so scared if I was doing something right, or am I in God's will, or am I and with God being forgiving, it was best for me to learn to live and walk in that, because if I'm going to be judgmental, not living in shame and guilt, and not able to forgive myself, again, how am I going to turn around and offer that to a partner when I don't even have the practice of doing that with the one who created me? I just got to say about the love. So I really love that. And we've all had our moments where we had to walk away and circle back in our own way, where it was about the relationship. And look at us, just glowing in the love. Okay, it works. We in here. Okay, so
glowing.
Glowing, and it's all good. And I'm much more joyful, present, happy, and feel like I can actually serve God in the capacity that He, like you said, Cookie, that He designed for us. I want to be able to experience the fullness of it without the
without feeling like Keandra said, that guilt or that shame. And I felt like that's what I always felt. And same like you guys, I still believe in God. I do. It's just the church I had to step away from. It was
right.
too much for me. And it was more so the people that used to make me feel bad about myself. And I was like, you're supposed to be on the same journey as me. Don't be talking about what I got going on over here. Just worry about what you got going on over there, okay? That's between me and God, okay? So that was just really hard for me. And so I was like, oh, I need to take a break from y'all. You guys are too much.
So I can actually hear. Yeah. So we got Mark going on in the chat. So we go.
I see you, Mr. Nash.
So before we get to our third topic, okay? Hold on now.
He said the church girls bust down the fastest.
Especially if they related to the pastor. Look, they repressed. Shoot.
And that's, come on now. All right, Mark, we're going to get through this with you. He said too much self-love and you'll end up alone, in my opinion. Self-love is BS. You can't marry yourself. Self-esteem is fine, but self-love is like saying my truth. There's no accountability. I get your perspective. Does somebody want to, take that one?
Yeah, there's a fine line there, because there is some sort of times when you have to speak your truth to people and it hurts. But there's also a way of delivering communication in a way that may be hurtful for the other person to hear the truth, but you're delivering it with a place of love. And that is self-love, because when you can be in that peace of mind, any message coming out of your mouth should be one of love, because you're so in alignment and so, have vibrating at such a high level that's your self-love mastery. So when you do have to have these sort of conversations or communications with people, it won't be from a place of fear or self-hate or, guilt or shame or whatever you used to feel about those feelings. So I think you can operate from a place of self-love and not and speak your truth and be with accountability attached to it, because just because it's your truth doesn't mean you're not accountable for it, but there's just a way in which you do so.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. And I really do subscribe to the scripture. I don't know where it is, but it's love God or love others as you love God. Or I forget, but I'm paraphrasing it. But essentially, it's like if we can't do unto others what we are and not able to do for ourselves. And I think sometimes there's sometimes self-love can be misinterpreted, and even some people are using it to where it's becoming about more indulgent or being more selfish and making it more so about something that is narcissism. And it's not the same thing. At least that's not what I believe the true essence of what real self-love is. And believe it's about honoring and loving and taking care and all of those things of who you are, and nurturing those things and being able to do it for myself so that I can actually radiate it and do it for other people, or give to other people out of that overflow of what I'm filling myself up with. So I think that it's necessary for sure.
Yeah, we have to be careful with language and vocabulary and how we're using it and what we're seeing, what the undercurrent of these things are. Because when I hear self-love, I want to be with somebody who's full of self-love. Because like you said, how can you love me if you don't love you? I didn't say being full of yourself and just I'm right and pride and ego. And that's when all that other stuff comes in. But if you don't love you, I don't know how you'd be able to love me. And I want you to speak your truth, because as somebody else who has self-love and can speak, honor myself and my truths and love me enough to learn about me to communicate that to you, I want you to do the same. Because again, if this is a partnership, that gives me the opportunity to show up in a way that you actually need. But how would you know that if you are not full enough of love of yourself to even say that to me? I don't want somebody to cower or not say something that, and just be miserable because they didn't love themselves enough to let me know what's up. I want to know. So I feel you. The accountability. Yeah. But there's levels, I guess. Okay, Mark, I know it's wrong, but after a certain age, if women aren't married, I assume they are damaged, difficult, or have a disease.
Oh, my God, Mark Nash.
Mark. I see this is the kind of pressure. Okay.
Oh my God, Mark, are you saying I have herpes? Or
gosh, because what is this?
He said herpes are real.
Like hashtag herpes. And but what is the age, Mark? What is the age? Because I do think about that. Sometimes like, gosh, I wonder, I'm not married, I don't have kids, what society says that I want it, I'm moving towards that. But I do sometimes wonder if I'm being judged in a particular way for not living that life. And I really think we have to stop doing that. That don't help nobody.
It don't help nobody.
For men too, Yeah. I see a lot of men in their older age, and I'm like, don't you want to settle down? I'm like, what you out here doing? And I'm like, oh, it's not for me to tell him when he needs to settle down. It's for him to know when he wants to settle down. And we need to get out of that thought process of, you're this age, you should have been done this by
must
now.
Be damaged.
You need to get so I can speak to this, Mark. It took me until between 33 to 35 to evolve to a place where someone would want to even marry me. So I think that I needed all of this time. And I'm older. I'm old. I'm 35. I'm not married, but
that is not.
You wouldn't have wanted to marry me at 24. I was toxic as fuck, and nor did I have the type of brain capacity and emotional intelligence that I have now. So no, you didn't want to marry me when I was young. Yes, you want to marry me now as an older, smarter adult.
And I love that you said that, because look at everybody now. I'm sorry, but everybody that's around my age, they divorcing, they got kids, done. They don't got it together because they rushed in their 20s because you need to be married. And first of all, what men are prepared for a wife in their 20s. Who we gonna marry? Who we gonna marry, boo? Like, y'all are taught to sow your wild oats. You out there kicking it. You in the club. You messing with all these hoes. You doing your thing. All of this stuff. And we supposed to marry you? How? Where? Men are not being raised to be husbands. They're being raised to do what they want to do. Y'all ain't even ready to your 30s. So I was with a man at 19. I was engaged to be married. We were very much in love. We had all this going on. We were together for 5 years. And I take the accountability. I wasn't developed, like you said, Cookie, enough to walk away, but I was definitely wife material. So much so that here we are, this was a very long time ago, and this man is in my DMs letting me know how much of a mistake he made for not honoring the woman I was. So I just challenge you with that, Mark. Like, what mans you know that's ready in their 20s that we can actually marry? And then everybody that did that are divorcing, they have kids and separate families. Like, let's change that narrative, because it might take just a little bit longer for us to be solidified in the fullness of who we are before we go sitting up there trying to make the biggest decision of our life. Marriage isn't just some cute thing. Who you have a child with. I watch my friends struggle badly because of who they laid down with and had a child. They don't even have the same parenting notions. But we rush in. You gonna stop that today?
Come on, that in itself, the blended family thing is, I think people don't really think about that piece, obviously. But what I was going to also add is, you spoke on it already a little bit, Jamie, of how a lot of the friends, that I have who did rush to get married are divorced. And there are also a lot of us who were in the church that felt like, let me rush to get married because they wanted to be married before they had sex. And they're also still divorced. And so there was, you know what I'm saying? Like that fear-based, the shame, all of those things of like, well, it's better to marry than to burn or in desire or whatever, you know what I mean? And so there were a lot of people that, again, they hyper focused on one aspect that was based in fear, and still decided to make such a huge decision to join their life with someone when they hadn't even experienced life themselves. That not everyone is mature enough to really handle what a marriage really is. Like, I'm grateful. I was also engaged when I was in my 20s. I'm so glad I didn't marry that man.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, I could literally, if I had a tambourine up in here, I would grab it and be shaking it right now. Listen, I wasn't ready to get married, but I'm also grateful that I did not marry him. And I'm grateful that now that I am 40, that I am in a place where I can make the decision from a place of more wholeness, of more stability, of have lived experience, to where I'm not making the decision from this place of like feeling like, oh, ain't nobody picking me, or, you know what I'm saying? Thinking that it has anything to do with who's choosing me, thinking that it has anything to do with my worthiness or whatever. Like, people gonna think what they want to think. But I'm glad that I'm on the other side of being able to see that I've had plenty of opportunities to have been married. Plenty. And for whatever reason, it never moved forward. And praise God that it didn't.
Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Just really quickly, you know how this is like God's love versus God's wrath. It's just so funny. There's so many people that are trapped in the fear of God's wrath in the afterlife that they're like living the wrath right now. It's almost like I watched that what was that show on Netflix, Single Before You Get Married at First Blind Sight or whatever.
Living the wrath.
And that girl, she was like a 27-year-old virgin. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's like, I bet a lot of good men came into her life and she let it walk by because she didn't, because the Bible told her so, and it's just like, come on, girl, like, you got to take some chances in life a little bit. I'm not saying to have sex. You don't have to, but don't not take the opportunity because, I don't got a ring on my finger. And that's just what it says. It's like, oh my God, I know so many people that are blocking their blessings because of something that someone told them in the church, or, maybe even their parents told them as a child. It's crazy. Yeah. You live in the wrath.
Yeah. You live in the wrath.
The wrath is upon you now.
And it's like you can still be sexy without having sex, but when you get into that sex talk, it's like you kind of rob the woman of even wanting to have that moment and learn about her sexiness means. You can still be sexy and alluring without giving it up, but to detach
And then can
yourself.
Christian women, can they do that? Like, how do you go into a marriage feeling sexy if you never even had sex? You never even let a man touch you. So now you're going to be married at 27 and a man has not even touched you? But your partner's been with several women. How do you think that's going to end up in the bedroom? She going to be like, exactly how that girl Iris was on that show. Like, oh,
and here her man ran. Like, oh my God, rub my leg. That's disgusting.
Kissing my arm right now? Yeah, girl, he kissing your arm. He gonna kiss your titty next. Are you ready? Come on, girl. Why you playing at 27 years old? You ain't never had your titty sucked. Like, girl, what's wrong with you?
And you know, the interesting thing is, Jamie and I both know, and I know a few women who I believe are, one is definitely
60?
over 50, and one is 60 who are still virgins because they're waiting on, you know, this experience. And that's, I know this is a bit of a, you know, we diverged a little bit, but
no, we in there. We not living the laugh today.
There's something there's something to be said about how there's just something missing and not really working with the message of women being in this place of purity and waiting and having the fear and shame of, like Cookie said, of not even have had any sexual experiences, even when it comes to themselves, because a lot of women even have shame around masturbation. You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to be comfortable having sex with multiple partners, and that's fair and that's fine, and you don't have to. But to not even have an understanding of pleasure for yourself, I believe, is also not healthy, you know? Like, so again, don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on that. But
there's nuances. It's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuances. And I do believe, I mean, considering that 55% of marriages end in divorce anyway, I'm certain that a good number of those are people who have gotten married too soon, whether they are in their 20s or they just quickly married someone because of whatever, the pressures of age, the pressures of a biological clock, whatever. I'm sure that there are some people who, wherever it may be in the spectrum, they rush the decision, and that's a huge part of why they got divorced in the first place.
Right. Well, we about to go into this. Completely agree in this third topic, but we just Mark
is having his own show. Mark has his own show. You're like, wait, okay, this is the next topic. This is the next topic.
Mark, we got you on here, ladies. We're gonna have a whole other conversation on Mark, sir.
No, remember Drea said you can erase your hoe phase. Okay, she said it.
But we ain't gonna be talking about no woman's whole phase when y'all men be out here. Stop. Every dude I mean, y'all got kids all over the place.
You're royal.
Y'all just be slaying.
Yeah. Both men and women. It is definitely not something that is just for women to be in the hoe phase. Men be in the hoe phase.
We don't like y'all mileage either. Men that are not sexually responsible are not attractive to us either. It shows lack of sexual discipline. It's not bagging numbers. You're not getting it. It's concerning. And that's another reason why men cheat in marriage, because you wasn't raised with no discipline. You out here like that, and now you expected to say I do, and now it's gonna be I'm a cold turkey. Nah, y'all ain't living right either. So we going to topic 3. If the shoe was on the other foot, forgiveness and fidelity. Let's go.
It's of the heart that really hits the core of marriage. And I think men will have a harder time dealing with a wife who does it than a wife who's experienced that. You know, men, we go crazy. we oh God, she cheated on me. I don't know it. Oh my God, and then when he does it, it's like, well, I'm hoping she forgives me and that we'll be able to restore the relationship because, it was a mistake that I made and I apologize for it. And she should just be ready to move forward because I'm ready to move forward now. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let the shoe on the other foot. Yeah, we broke. Believe me, we in trouble. We I don't know how to recover from this. I don't think I can ever love her again.
Yeah.
Think about any friend of yours who's still married, who's dealt with infidelity. And this is what I shared with one brother.
Ooh.
I said, I want you to imagine that every time she kisses you, she's thinking of the other woman you kissed. And every time she touches you, she's thinking of how you touched that other woman. And she chooses to forgive you and still kiss you. And it still allows you to be in her sacred place in her body. I said, that's a level of forgiveness that you never want to experience as a man. And this is why we don't get to dictate the process of the apology and the forgiveness. We have to let the person who has been cheated on drive that. If we don't, then absolutely right. It's not going to make it. The marriage is not going to last.
Well said. Well said.
Right.
Well said.
Very well said.
What did you guys think about that? Yeah.
So I've always had my thoughts on women who cheat versus men who cheat. I feel like women always cheat from a space of an emotional space. You know, we don't even have to sleep with a man to be cheating, because we can be tied emotionally to someone outside of our marriage or outside of our relationship. For men, and I'm not speaking for every man who's cheated, it's usually just the physical. They usually just want to see what it's like, and then they want to go back home, you know, and it's usually just because they're such physical creatures, you know, and it's just like, oh, I just want to do it right now, and I want to try that. It just looks so good over there, and I just want to try it. But I love my wife, but I just want to try it, you know. And then they get caught up in these places. But I don't think it's emotional for them. Not to say that some men don't go get lost in an emotional cheating scandal. But for most, I think it's a one-off. I just wanted to do this really quickly. And so it comes to, yeah, what space are you in for your cheating? Was it just sex? Was it emotional cheating? And you know, what is the future look and hold for this? But he's absolutely right. The person who got cheated on is the one who's driving this entire thing, because they're the only ones that have to process those feelings and what it's like when they have to make love to you, or lay next to you, or kiss you, or see you, or wondering where you are when you're not where you say you're supposed to be. And so it has to be driven by that person. That person has to be strong in their mind to want to forgive. And I can't wait till we get to our last clip, because that's kind of what we've been seeing in social media lately. It's a strong Black woman. You know, she's driving that right now. And she's made it very clear that she's in the driver's seat, you know, and it's admirable as hell. So.
Yeah, well, you know, the question I had with this is, when it comes to cheating, why are women always expected to forgive their man? And is that another narrative that we need to get rid of? Because, you know, you spoke of that. Yeah, with just that sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's like men just want to go out here and get it. But what do you think?
Oh, I was basically
you're
asking
Keandra, sorry.
I was actually going to speak to the fact that, you know, exactly what Tony brought up is that most men cannot handle being cheated on the same way women are expected to handle being cheated on. And I hate it so much because it's a part of the double standard that is completely unfair. And also one of my biggest issues of knowing that why men aren't holding other men accountable when they are cheating. You know, like it seems like, you know, like the homies, they all know the stories, they're listening, but they just kind of like, you know, that's what he's doing, or, you know, and it just kind of seems like there isn't anybody really like driving some sense of like, again, accountability when it comes to, you know, that your boy or your boys, plural, are cheating. Like it's just too much. That was what I was going to speak to. But the person who has been cheated on will absolutely drive. If even the cheater is willing to be in, I guess, the passenger seat of their healing process, because it's going to look really different. You know, for some people, you might have to endure, you know, your windshield getting blasted, or, you know, the the tires being slashed, because those moments of anger are going to happen, versus you know, withholding sex, versus them maybe showing up publicly. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be very different. And as someone who's had to endure, I've actually never stayed with the person that cheated on me. I've been cheated on multiple times, and I haven't stayed. And so I don't know what that's like to actually be in the place of working through the forgiveness. You know, like that part I can't speak to. But it is something that's very interesting that, you know, most men aren't able to actually handle it happening to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, you're right. And Tony brought something up that we talked about in the discussion of King Speak on Tuesday, which if you guys didn't see the discussion, please go back. You can go to King Speak on Instagram or my Instagram and click the link in bio, or head to the YouTube so you can watch that. But yeah, men respond to pain, and
Tony is crazy.
No. Oh God. So men respond to pain. And Keandra, I know that you shared you haven't been in a space where you've really had to forgive. I was with a man for 5 years. I loved him. I wanted to marry him. And I started doing that thing in your brain where you talk yourself into, you know, maybe he is going to change. I know we're young. I know he loves me. It's going to be different. We're getting married. He's going to get over this phase. He'll eventually realize. You start out performing. You try to keep. I was the sharpest FBI agent you done ever. FBI, CIA ain't got nothing on me. I seen it. And I got the Holy Spirit. Honey, there was nothing.
I'm pretty sure. I don't understand. I still don't understand why. Yeah, why CIA and FBI agents are all men. Because I'm like, you know, the women should be all up in there. We're the best detectives in the world. That's why it's taking too long to solve the cases.
Come on, we got.
They want to drag out the case. That's why drag out the crime.
For 6 months, so we would have solved it in 2 days.
3
like,
minutes.
Oh,
you was 3 minutes.
Oh, he was 3 minutes. Let's ping his cell phone.
Oh, what was that text? Because you know what? I do remember him seeing. I saw him because I remember when I seen him, it was that girl who was looking. Bet you check her phone number. Bet you that's it. Like I already know. So it's like it wasn't till I left that he was like, "Oh my God, what was me?" And it wasn't till mad time went by even more. This man is hurt. We are years later, and he regret he's living in right now. It's like, dang, you couldn't have that when I was here. You had my whole heart. So yeah, I believe men respond to pain. And that's why for me, I'm not saying we're no cheater. You have to talk about a rap. You're going to have to feel something because you had enough guts to do it. You want to put everything on the line? Let's put it on the line then. You want to bet? We can make bets over here. So you're going to lose. And I just feel like you kind of have, that's when a woman has to like thug it out and put that up real quick. Women, so okay. No. Women cheat with emotions first, then body. Men cheat with their body first, and then emotions. And you know what? Either way, it's still cheating.
That's very true. And yeah, it's still cheating.
Can't handle it. Men, and I see men on Twitter because let's just blend in. We got our trending on social topic. We got to talk about this Derek Jackson situation because we went from speaking to a king level man with a 20-year relationship in marriage with no infidelity to now we got this social media, like we got a lot going on. So men on Twitter are just like, oh, I would leave her. I'm not doing this and I'm not doing, and it's like, y'all are so, and I believe them. I believe men would be quick to run away, walk away and feel entitled to do so. But why the double standard? Like, no tires, no scratches, no brick windows.
From experience, from the women I know that have cheating, the men don't leave. No, I don't think they know how to leave because they're so broken in the fact that she did this. They need to stay and claim territory. That's been my experience with them. And I don't know a lot of women cheaters, but the ones that I do, their men are still with them. And I feel like it was something that she broke in him to where now he doesn't even feel holy enough to leave. Does that make sense? So like, it's almost like now she's in control. She's in control because she stepped out. Now he feels lost. And now he's begging for her love. And she's just like, oh, I'm in control.
I think that's a type.
Yeah.
I think the women who cheat on men know they can, because he is going to be the type to stick around and need to do all that and to prove and whatever. You always know when you can play that game with somebody. So if a woman is cheating on you, it's because she knows she can, in my opinion.
I also, there's a couple people that I know that have cheated on their husbands, and the husbands, to my knowledge, don't know. At least now, maybe they do, and they haven't left. To Cookie's point, but it is interesting that there's maybe they don't know how to go, or either depending on if it's just in a partnership and not a marriage, then it's easier to walk away from a situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Mark in the chat. Nothing is worse than being accused and you didn't do anything. But that's the thing. That's something that men say, and I think that's like, we don't have nothing to say if you're not doing anything. This isn't just I just want to pick something out the sky and act a fool.
Yeah.
So, and then look with the Derek Jackson. He's a perfect case. Like, men don't even like him. Men are like,
men do not like him. They're like, he's always been in his car. That was always suspect with him.
And he's always, I saw a man on Twitter say, I don't trust any dude that all women are like, yep. And I get it, because not like he's simping or anything, but it's just like, you giving up all the quote unquote tea about what women need to do and what to stay away from, but really only because you're that guy. Come on. I was never a fan, but my discernment probably was like, no thanks. Like, I hear you, but I don't need you to like, something didn't resonate. And now I'm looking and it's like,
no. So here's the thing about me, and anytime stuff like this gets in the media, I always put myself in their shoes, because I'm like, you just got caught in a media frenzy. This happens every day. And so to blast this man and bury his name in the dirt for something that people are doing every 5 minutes of the day, it sucks for him. But yeah, this is where accountability comes in, and you can't claim you're something and you're doing something else, because that stuff always comes to the light. And so he's learning a very hard lesson right now, unfortunately for him, and it's public. That's like the biggest. I think if you can get over the public shame, you can get over anything. That probably has to be the most embarrassing thing for both parties. But as a woman, I always place myself in the woman's shoes, and I was very shocked when I watched her video, but I was also very proud to see someone, whether it doesn't differentiate for what you think. She knows who she is. She knows what she believes. And she came out and was like, I don't care what you guys say. I've dealt with this. I've made my decision. So shut the fuck up. And I was like, okay, girl, I'm with you. If you like it, I love it. I don't think it's right what he did to you. But if you've made that decision to bring peace and love and to come from that space of your heart, because like she said, she's Jesus Christ is her savior. She kept preaching and claiming to that's where her love and peace in her heart has come from, and her forgiveness has come from, because that's the teachings of Jesus for her. And so I was proud to see a woman stand in her faith, and not even in her faith, in her truth. That's her truth. And so don't judge her for what her truth is. Her truth, it may not be the next from, like I said, if that was me, he would have had to go. But my thought process isn't the same of what I heard from her. And so when she explained herself, I was like, I feel you, girl. All right. I feel you. And if you can sit by your man through this, you have my blessings. It's not for me to judge her situation. I don't got to lay with that man at night. She does. And if she wants to lay in that bed, let her lie there.
What are your thoughts, Keandra? I mean, I have my thoughts as well. I mean, I feel you, Cookie. I do. I really do.
Yeah. No, I feel you, Cookie, too. And I think people were going to talk about her if she stayed or if she went. Like, right. I think that with women who have public partners, you know what I mean? Like even the same with Cardi and Offset. Like there were people that were like, oh, Cardi, you should take him back, you know what I mean? Like, and then the other women were like, girl, you know, you crazy. So it's just kind of like people are going to talk about you regardless of what it is that you choose to do. You just need to be able to stand in your truth. I guess the part for me that I actually am very sad for her because he's humiliated her multiple times.
Right.
And, you know, her faith is obviously strong, but it also for me is a bit on the extremist end because it's so focused on, you know, some of those hyper spiritual things in the language and and it just was kind of like, yeah, like, but this is not what God's destiny is. Like, we're not just accessories for men to learn how to get better or to heal, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, some of the things that she was saying really diminished a lot of her own value. And she's spoken to her low self-esteem herself, you know? So it just kind of, because she's admitted to that part and that being something that she struggled with, and because it was spiritualized as opposed to like really just brought to just the practical basic level of like, there couldn't be some dynamic in their relationship where that was also played on, you know what I'm saying, by him or who knows, you know what I mean? Like, that part of it is what really was the disgusting thing for me of like, oh, you know, she's been sharing her low self-esteem even before this moment. You know, there's several videos where she shares about just her journey of healing and how she struggled with how she feels about herself, knowing that she has this doting, handsome, charming, you know, man who does all these videos from his car.
You know,
I'm riding in my car.
Right. And you know what? You guys both made very, very valid points. And, you know, like Cookie, I'm with you. Look, if you like it, I love it, girl. You don't want to got to lay with him at night. So this is not for me to judge you about what you want to do. But I'm with you. Additionally, Keandra,
I still want more for her though, but I'm backing her. She made her decision publicly to the world. She said, this is what it is. Nobody said anything to Vanessa Bryant when she stayed with Kobe. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody
Did.
Yeah, they did.
We just didn't hear it the same.
Yeah, we just didn't have Instagram. They did.
We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Black Twitter back then.
If you had Black Twitter, it would be all kind of memes. All kind of memes. And rest
the
his soul, because
right.
it was definitely like
it would have been
image
all
of it.
bad.
Oh yeah, like if he was still here today, and you know, the dynamic of his passing and all that wasn't so sensitive, I'm certain that there would be, because the comparison was there. I mean, that was the
right
first thing that I thought of just kind of like, this looks, it looks very Kobe Bryant and Vanessa. So I saw that image was immediate before I even heard what they had to say. But yeah.
And I feel you to see. So with the hyper spirituality thing, what gets me is I just don't, we're all influencing people with how we function and what we do. And it reminds me of that whole ride or die thing. That's what had me messed up. Like, you supposed to ride for your man. You supposed to da-da-da. I don't need to do nothing for nobody who ain't riding for me. Period. And it wasn't just like you had a moment and cheated. We're talking about several women here, and that was his words. So with that being said, you committed to a lifestyle that you weren't prepared for and dragged me with you. And that's the problem. You think now that you pleaded the blood, I think you just gonna automatically, you didn't do that before I do, but now you done seen the light. That's the part I can't get with. And I just don't want other women to look at that and just sit there and you praying and laying hands on your man, when the one thing in the Bible says you walk away from a marriage due to infidelity. God didn't say stick around for that. And, you know, Tony brought up in the interview that he shared. So I do believe in forgiveness. Again, I've been there, I've done that, so I get it. And there's nuances to this. So I'm not going to tell anybody how to live, but he kind of compared domestic violence. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you to stay there and get beat up on. You got to go. But why do we even differentiate domestic violence from emotional violence? This is a violent act that obliterates the heart of a woman and the mind and the self-esteem. Like, it's bad. It's not just, oh, I cheated and I'm sorry now. Like, y'all don't know what runs underneath the skin of somebody who's been, you not going to Vegas, you not going speaking gigs, who you talking to, like the spazzing that you do because you cannot trust your man to walk out the house is emotional violence. It beat me upside the head, pound my heart. Like, it's the same, to me, it's the same thing. And I'm not trying to diminish the value of either. I don't want to be punched in the face either, but if you can't tell me it hurts very badly when a man does that emotionally. And I don't really know how you come back from that, God or no God. And I'm not saying God can't handle it, but I'm saying we're also human. So let's be real a little bit.
I'm in the same space. I'm like, the space in between the, the now that the world is making fun of you. Like, what is their nights like? How do you go to sleep at night knowing that you see memes of yourself on social media and you have to see it, knowing that your family understands and knows this is going on? Now you got mommies and daddies in the ear. You got sisters and brothers in your ear. You got all these people in your ear. I can only imagine the pressure she's going through right now. Yeah. This is why I give her my love, because I'm like, oh girl, like, you got a lot going on right now. Yeah. Me knowing who I am too, I don't think I could stick around for that. Not the way he did it. If it was a one-off, maybe, but he's a cheater. And I'm not saying that you can't come back from that, because there are men who do, can be saved from that, or can get therapy and can heal and will never cheat again. Yeah. Do I feel like that's where he's in his life? I don't know. That's for him to know. But does she, like you said, need to get dragged through this process? Probably not. But if she wants to forgive him, I'm with her on that. But I agree. Maybe she shouldn't stay. It's okay to forgive, but maybe not stay. But if that's what she wants to do, let that baby girl do what she wants to do.
Absolutely. Because it's not about, how are we any different if we're just like bashing on her? Like, we got our jokes and our memes, and I've been laughing at the memes. Damn it, the memes are funny.
The hair one.
I've been cracking up at the bonnet memes. Like, whatever, it's online. Y'all online.
My God, they are dragging this girl. It is not even funny. Like, my heart goes out to her, because I'm like, if they caught me on a bad day, what kind of memes y'all about to have about me? Like, I'm like, I feel for her. She's being dragged publicly. I know she'd be going out like that with her bunny on.
That's
but
who
like,
she is, like you said, standing in her truth. So cool. Like,
but then, she needs to own that and stop talking about, I'm going through, like with Kiana. I haven't even seen those other videos. Don't say you're having self-conscious issues and then you going online looking like you don't love yourself, because, when you love yourself, you look your best. And I don't care if your best is just a little hairdo. Like, don't come on national television with your bonnet on and expect people who are ignorant in their mind not to think of that as a funny thing. There's so many ignorant people out here. This is what they get paid on. Their followers get paid on them dragging people through. So she should have thought that through first, or like, I don't know. I'm sure they spoke with the publicist before they went on, because it was too scripted. He knew exactly what to say. They knew exactly what to say. So you mean to say her team or his team didn't tell her that she looked crazy before she went on camera?
And that's exactly
you have the wrong team.
Took notes from what they've already seen, because it was like all of it was, again, very comparative to what someone else's approach was, where it's like, even though she had her own platform, it still is like there's a small number of people that basically, I feel like there's more people that feel sorry for her and are shaming her than are actually just kind of like, yeah, girl, like, like I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. And Vanessa also never said a word. Like, we never heard.
She just had the scowl on her face.
She just had the scowl on her face.
Stood by, and that was it.
Stood by, and that was it. Whereas she's being so much more vocal with hers that it's giving more ammunition to, the narrative, the stories, the suspicions, what we suspect is actually happening. We obviously we don't know. But it's kind of adding more fuel to what's kind of like, she needs to go underground, and
she needs to be quiet.
She just needs to be
and
quiet.
Let this blow over.
And if there was something, I also don't believe that it's necessary for the woman to have to also make a public stance. Like, if you want to, stay with him and heal, your healing does not have to be in public. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
let him be the one that makes the public statements or whatever. But this feeling the need to hold hands and all that, because we see that a lot in the political arena too. And I just think it's trash. You know what I'm saying? Where sometimes they eventually end up divorcing or whatever. But it's like, make your decision, but you don't have to publicly sit there with him too. You know what I'm saying? Like that I just don't like that messaging. It's not genuine.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Tony in the chat said, due to hardness of the heart that infidelity causes, it can be very hard for the human psyche to grasp. Hence the show Snapped. And with what you're saying, Cookie, like, let's be real. It's like, we're seeing the root of everything that's going on. Then you're saying, like, I read posts from her saying that she's imitated other hairstyles, looks, and all this out of jealousy. Okay, and have done some wild things. So then you come on camera like that, and then you're doing this and that. So to me, this is not only mixed messaging, but it's a little alarming and concerning because, again, I am a woman of God, and I am a woman who has been through infidelity. I wasn't married. It was just but I'm just saying, like, sometimes it takes years to figure out what that really has actually done to you. And so to just come publicly and, like you're saying, Keandra, the publicness is not that necessary, but if you're going to do that, she's now becoming a beacon for other women who may be going through the same thing. And I don't know if the messaging is healthy. This is absolutely a time to just hold on, because you might not know, girl. You think you know. And to me, some of that stuff sounds like a little bit spiritual milk and not the meat. And that's my opinion, but it's a sippy cup to me. And I just know if you ready for the steak knife and what's really going on. And it's not about me judging her. She can do what she wants, but it's in the public now. So I'm more concerned about what other women are getting from this and what other men are now going to be running around here doing, because everybody going to try to plead the blood of Jesus over your cheater. And I don't believe that that's the only answer.
Not only that, like, what is she going to do now? Because now the next time she comes out, she can't be like looking all bum, because then people will be like, oh, it's like she just, I feel for her. But she should definitely stay true to her authenticity. And if that's who she is, just be you, girlfriend. Just be you. Look, he married her. Okay. Yeah. So he married her for a reason. And he loved that. Or I don't know why he married her. Maybe we need to go and ask him that. So it's kind of like, something about him wanted her. And I'm sure if he's still staying by his woman, he could leave. He could have left too. He could have went and been with his mistresses. So he's staying by her side too. So I'm kind of looking at this like something there he wants, because he could leave. He could leave too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they have a family. But again, I try to look at the deeper of things. And some things there that he wants, like, what challenge is she really providing if she ain't gonna get up and leave when he constantly cheats? Like, I would say too, I'm comfortable, I'm at home, I have my family here, and I can go do what I want. What am I leaving for? I got my cake and I'm eating it too. And I'm not saying it is that, but that's just where my mind goes.
Now he got eyes on him and he can't go have no more cake.
Oh, he's gonna get the cake, boo. These hoes didn't care before, they don't care now.
Yeah, they don't care now. They don't care now.
The cake, boo.
And to Mark's question, of who's getting it worse, I think she's getting it worse. I feel like this whole situation is actually, the focus is actually her now, on her beret or bonnet, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's the beret. Oh my God.
That's what the topic is now. You know what I mean? Like, in her heart, her extreme spirituality, her humility, like all of it, it's more on her now. So she is getting it worse. And that's why I agree with you, because
she's a soldier.
And in her love, because it's like she's the victim here. And it's like, but yet, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the judgment is still coming her way. And that again, of course, speaks to, well, again, some of it she's bringing on herself by being vocal.
She's the fool in this situation. And that's what people are seeing. Logical people see a fool.
They do see that. There are people that see that.
And then there's people who are empaths and are very emotional in their, we got to forgive. And those people are saying she did the right thing, So everybody's going to have their own opinion. And this is her life to live, and maybe in this lifetime she's not going to evolve, and maybe that was her, or maybe she will evolve. Maybe this is her test. And you know, it because it's in the public eye, it sucks for her. But she, like you said, Keon, she needs to just go underground, shut the fuck up, and do some soul searching, and maybe we'll see her on the other side.
Yeah, because I can't. For me, I don't feel bad. I don't think some of the ridicule is necessary, but her man been online for God knows how many years. You know, when you put yourself online, you open yourself up to that. So if you're open to it and your family, then that's what you're gonna get, and some of it's gonna be good, some of it's gonna be bad. As hosts, we're all subjecting ourselves to that, like whatever, you know, people up here, you know, whether it's people thinking you too this or to that, you should be married, you did this, you did. People's gonna have something to say, but we on the World Wide Web, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and you gotta choose what you put out there. So I can only feel so bad. It's not like she's being attacked out of nowhere. You hopped on camera and, you know, gave it all up. So I don't know. It's very interesting. He is selling a book behind this called Healing Together.
Of course they are.
Of
course they are. That's all the shit ever is for a coin. That makes me mad.
And that's what makes me mad.
Yeah, that makes me mad too. It speaks to why some people have even like suggested that this whole thing was a setup. So we're being played. You know, there are people who think like he's such a narcissist that he's, you know, probably planned this whole thing for the coin. But like, I don't know.
No, before this scandal broke, they got with the publicist, and a publicist said, we're going to go public with this, and then you're going to sell a book. It's either a book, a movie deal, a TV deal, or something. Whenever someone decides to go public with something or a scandal is about to break, why do you think Kevin Hart's all telling his truth and shit? Because his team got in front of it. This is what you pay these people millions of dollars for. Let's get in front of this. Let's just come and let's just admit it. No, you're not admitting that shit was about to come out, boy. Like, you know what
now
I'm
everybody's
saying?
Talking. You got 250,000 additional followers.
And then their team is like, let's spin it. Let's spin it. Now let's write a book about how you got through this. And your wife is going to stand behind you. And she's going to sit there. And she's going to hold your hand in the interview and just stand there and not break a smile or break a sweat. You know, I mean, all of that shit, me being a media person, I see all through that shit. So, you know, my real feelings about the situation is that shit was staged. I think she's been knowing about this shit for a long time, but it finally was about to surface publicly. So they had to come out before it was about to smear his name worse than it is now. Let's come out and head it on the head. And now they're about to make money off of it.
If there's a church tour with this book, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But there will be.
But there would, you know, like it's more so the fools that actually will sign up for it.
But that's the thing, and that's what
Hillary didn't say anything, because Hillary was like, "I'm about to run for president, and you're gonna have to smear my motherfucking name. I'm about to be the president of the United States," even though she only vice president. But that was her goal. She knew who she was, and Bill was not about to smear her name. She was like, "I'm coming for the presidency. You're not about to make me stupid right now, so that they could play this clip over and over and over when I'm running for presidency." She's smart as hell.
Yeah,
and you think her team wasn't on that too? Because they were like, "Oh, Hillary 2020." You know, Hillary. They had already had this shit in the bag a long time ago. So when Bill came public, there's a reason why only he came public. There's a reason you didn't hear from Chelsea. There's a reason you didn't hear from Hillary, because the presidency was always in their eyesight.
The plan, correct. Yeah, no, and that's what bothers me most. It's like we're still in the age where people want to be played. You want to be sold. You want to be told what to think. And that's at the end of the day, that's the most scary thing. Like everyone's still looking at everyone else, trying to figure out who can tell me how to live, what's right, what are we doing, what's going on. Sell me, please sell me. Tell me how to be in this life. And that's why dudes like this thrive in the first place, because nobody is thinking about how to really live authentically. We say these words, but then we suckle at the teat of everybody that's on television just to live for that.
Let me just say one last thing though. everybody's dragging his wife. What about the fucking mistresses? They are not clean in this situation, and they are being praised for how beautiful and bad they look. Instead of coming into a marriage and sleeping with this man, instead the wife is being dragged.
Why this is a problem?
The
Do you see why
wife
this
is
is a
being
problem?
dragged because she don't look like them. So what? He married that. He could have chosen to marry that, and he chose the good, wholesome woman. And then you want to go sleep with them hoes over there. And that's fine. And that's what they are, because you stepped into a marriage like that. And now these women are being glorified because they look prettier than the wife. Like,
but that shows you
do you
where we
understand
are.
what society is so fucked up?
And she is a beautiful woman.
She is
like
beautiful.
I don't think
Absolutely.
that she's you know, like she just unfortunately presented herself in a way that like doesn't
had no pizzazz.
Yeah, it just had no pizzazz, like no nothing. And so it's unfortunate. But yeah, I agree with Tony said too. It does seem to be very scripted, and
we want to be played, y'all. We want to, when we look at politics, when we look at everything that go on in the media, and Cardi B this and loving everybody's scandal online, all this stuff going. This is who we are.
We're addicted to scandal. We're addicted to that stuff. It's the culture. We're addicted to what's the next best scandal. And I think Mark had said this is like, if she just be quiet, it's okay. Something else will come along. And that's exactly how we are. And now we're seeing the Jada and Will memes, like, oh, this the entanglement again. And it's like, nobody was even talking about them. And now they're being dragged back in this shit again, And it's just like, yeah, but we forgot about them because we're on to the next scandal. We on to the next. Where are we gonna draw blood next? We're just a blood sucking society, It's like, oh, who we gonna bash? Who we gonna embarrass today? Who we gonna shame? Who we gonna talk about?
Yeah,
negatively.
Who business we gonna get in? Yeah, they're gonna be on Red Table Talk. They're gonna sell some books. It's gonna work out for them because
they're gonna go talk to Megan and Devon. They're gonna do all kinds of stuff. It's about to be a whole. Then they're gonna be Ayana. Ayana fixed my life. Ayana.
Yeah, I got a book on how Ayana fixed my life. Like.
If anybody sees their relationship as goals or what they aspire to,
I'm tired of goals.
God bless them. Because it's like goals ain't nothing. Like we ain't even talked, about the J-Lo and why can't I think of his name? A-Rod. Yeah, like just how that was also considered goals, and we still have yet to see how that unfolds and what's the truth of are they gonna make it or not. But you know what I mean? Like it's just interesting how people immediately attach whatever they want for themselves and think that what they see in the highlights of Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff is actually what you're aspiring to want. And that's not.
No, it's not. And I think J-Lo and A-Rod, I can only respect their relationship a little bit more because it seems a little bit more on the DL. The stuff that came out about them. And they're like, no, we're fixing and I give them grace because it's like, hold up, though. Quarantine hit everybody different. So now they're reaching a different level of their relationship like everyone else does because they're dealing with different things. And I didn't see them on here doing what Derek Jackson did. Tony made a great point. People don't care about the other women. It's the age of the WAP. They're being glorified, and this is society. Where's the line?
And guess who just won Grammys? Beyonce and Megan for Savage and all these other songs that are just like, tearing down women. And it's crazy because these are people we love and they're making this trash ass music. Like, I'm like, come on.
But then it's like, go ahead and make the trash ass music. For me, it's when are we going? I can listen to WAP. WAP don't run my life. I'm not about to start making shows about it. I'm not going to start pursuing men about it. You're not going to see me doing reels about the WAP I got. Like, that's not who I am. I got my own mind. But when I'm in the gym, you best believe what I'm getting down to and I can enjoy it because my head is on straight. Why aren't our heads on straight? Why are we allowing these? This is why I feel like this show and conversations of the like are so important because it's like, enjoy the stuff, do your thing, but you don't have to live by it. Like you out here, really, like you out here. Let me see what this man is talking about. When I got in trouble in school, my mama told me she would wear her hair closed. I didn't embarrass me. If I did it again, maybe she did the same.
I'm gonna come out in my bonnet, okay?
Right. You didn't want mama to show up in her rollers, though. Don't embarrass me like that, mom.
And the robe. Oh Lord.
But that's insane. We had
Right.
so much fun with this. I think things are getting better, but I think we have to just mind our own in the
Everybody got her
the chat,
feelings.
y'all. Like, dang, you like in the chat.
Wow.
Mark
Wow.
Nash has
The chat is pretty lit tonight.
You're
Thank
the
you,
real
Mark.
MVP, Mark.
Mark, you're the real MVP, sitting in the nursery right now, just enjoying
Right,
Queen's
next to his
Glean.
baby girl.
Yeah.
Over here being toxic in our comments. I'm just messing with you, Mark.
Oh my God, I love it. And I love you guys. This was so much fun. And I think it all needed to be addressed. And again, it's our perspectives that hopefully, I'm glad we got, some shine going on, because people need to hear this. We need to have these conversations. It can't just be, the basic stuff. We've got to be able to elevate and evolve beyond these things, because it's not going away. WAP ain't going away. Hoes cheating and dudes doing none of this is going away. But who are we going to be in it?
Shout out to people like Tony Briscoe and his wife, who are really good examples of what it could and should look like. And
in real life,
to have a ball after 20 years.
Yes.
Invite me to your next ball, Tony. Okay.
They did. They celebrated on Saturday. They had vegan food. They turned up with another married couple. And
I'm trying to come to y'all's party. Okay.
Right. With the ministries that they hang out with. What's the next episode? I gotta go, but I can't move. I'm stuck. The next episode is not next week, but the week after. We'll be back on Thursday, same time, same place, with another episode of Queen's Glean. We do have some great men lined up, just getting the schedule together. So more conversations, more topics. Mark, since you be in there, is there any topics that you want to hear about? I mean,
Mark,
you know what I'm saying,
needs
Mark?
to just write all the questions for the show.
We
and
have to
produce
invite him in. Yeah, we want to invite him in for a little segment one day.
That's hilarious.
What was that dance move? I don't know. I'll be over here just nothing too fancy, I'm not J-Lo. But yeah, this was a good conversation, guys. I can't wait to share clips and pieces. Thank you for everybody who tuned in and rocked with us in the comments. Please go to Kings Speak on Instagram. Please go to Jamie Alexander on Instagram. Hit the link in my bio. I've got, courses, The Power of Posture, that teaches and shows people how to really live authentically. Like, let's get back to the core of who we are so we can make moment by moment good decisions instead of being told what to do and how to be. If you guys are interested in hosting a show like this, I also have a very affordable course there where you can get yourself started, get a little show format, and learn the tips and tools to be a great host. And not next week, but the week after, we'll have another King Speak. So tune in for that as well. Now it's your go.
My go,
yes.
Me. So
I think you're in the middle.
I did it.
Yes.
So here's where you can find me on Instagram, Keandra_D. I am actually hosting an event this coming Saturday with a good friend of mine, Dr. Gianni Lewis. It's called Lead Well. This is specifically for Black women professionals. It's basically like leadership, professional development meets self-care, a little virtual retreat situation. It's specifically, again, for Black women. So we're going to be touching on the things that affect our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, and just ways that we can emerge better together and be able to endure and do I guess I got a little distracted with the.
I know,
sorry. But basically, ways that we can basically just heal and endure with the ways that we are leading and moving and doing our thing within purpose. So definitely check me out on the Instagram. If not on the Instagram, you can find all the information
on the gram.
The link is in the bio there, and then also the Surrender Society on Facebook if you're wanting to join a community of like-minded women, and even some of these light touches of conversations percolate within there too. So definitely find me there. And you can find all three of us in that group too. So
And really quick, I wanted to read actually a quick quote that I took from your email, Keandra, which I really love. And it says, the sustainability of your success can no longer rely on the faulty foundation your career has been built upon, where your physical and mental health are not at the forefront of your professional choices. And I wanted to share that because that's a whole conversation. But since
I know that's a whole topic.
That's a whole topic. We'll get to it another time.
Is.
I just wanted to share that because I thought it was amazing.
All of her quotes are amazing. And don't forget to join the Surrender Society on Facebook, guys. Keandra has a word at least every other day for you, and it's beautiful. But Tony, I got something for you. All you got to do is make a scandal, and your music about to go viral. No, I'm joking.
He's a rapper, y'all. He got a song out.
No, I'm joking. But I like your story, Tony. Continue to tell your story, and your followers and your audience will gravitate to you. That's your authenticity right there. And I feel like the more you're, vulnerable and authentic, people will just gravitate to you. That's usually how things happen, and you want it to happen organically. But yes, definitely, I would love to hear it. Maybe we could get you some spin somewhere. So send it to me, contact with me. There's my Instagram, Queen Cookie is there. You guys can catch me here on Queen's Glean. And I also host a show of my own called Love and Good Music. It's very new. I'm gearing up for episode 3. So I'm barely like 2 episodes in. It's very, very new. But it's just my creative outlet. It's my healing space for myself. But I'm also just grateful to the men who come on here because I feel like you guys are shining light on what it is to be healthy men. And we need our men to be leaders to other men. Even when we spoke earlier about you cheating and your boys knowing about it, that's not attractive to us to know that your boys are letting you out here just slanging. I want the type of men around my men that's going to be like, I think you need to check your man. He's out here wilding. That's the type of man, even not snitching on him, just telling me like something's going on. Tell him exactly. Like, what are you doing, bro? Or I'm not going to be your friend if you out here. I want his friends to love me enough, to respect me enough that they won't even be out here letting him wild out like that. That's the type of king men you need around a king. So make sure your tribe is, who you are too, because I wonder what type of friends Derek Jackson has, that we're letting him out here wild in these streets.
Yes, man.
So, it's just interesting, but I always love this platform. I be wilding on here too. I always got something to say, but I'm glad you guys give me the space to do so.
I love you, Cookie. I'm so glad to have your perspective. I love it all the time.
I'd be wild, but it's crazy. I'm like, that's where my brain goes. I'm like, nah.
I love it. And yes, Mark Nash, the link for my stuff is in my Instagram.
Yes.
So King Speak is just the shows, but in my Instagram. Yes. And I love all of your perspectives. I think we're so well-rounded. People out there calling us the female drink champs, which I love, the positive drink champs. And I think that our perspectives being different is what makes the show bomb. Like we've been rolling since day one and I love it. So cheers to us, more to come. You know what I'm saying? And thanks for tuning in, y'all. And
he said, do women lie for their friends? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
And
yes, we do.
We'll talk about that another time.
But I will tell my friend in a heartbeat when she's fucking up.
When she's wrong. Like, come on.
Right. I'm still lie for my girl and cover for my girl,
Don't call me. She was on my couch, sleep.
Like she was here. What are you talking about? I have the text messages and everything.
Yeah. No. All right, we clowning now. Guys, have a wonderful
Now we telling our secrets.
I know, right? We need to spill your guts, Queen's Glean, where we go.
Oh, that'll be good. I can own all my stuff.
All the dirt. Oh, they ain't ready for my dirt.
We're going to have to do one. Oh, Mark, you're funny. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for everything. And we'll see you not next week, but the week after for another episode of Queen's Glean. Good night.